Hello guys, welcome to solving the Leetcode problem number 1, which is the two-sum problem. So the question is that we are given an array of integers and another integer which is the target, and we have to return the indices of two numbers inside this array which add up to be the target number. So the example, as you can see over here, if this is the array, we have to find two numbers within this array which add up to be 9. Additionally, they say that you may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, so that's okay, and you may not use the same element twice. So the first straightforward method would be a brute force method, wherein you simply go through all the combinations and you check which combinations add up to be 9. So let's just take the example that is given over here. Let's use the array 2, 7, 11, 15, and what we are targeting here is 9. So for the brute force method, we'll need two loops. One is the outer loop, one is the inner loop. So for the outer loop, let us have it as I, and it will start from the first element. Now they specifically say that the same element cannot be used twice, so we have to make sure that we don't add 2 with 2 itself. So the inner loop that we'll have should start from the next element, which is, we can name it as j. So what will basically happen in this case is that it will go through, it will basically keep 2 as the first element, and it will first add it with 7, then it will add it with 11, then it will add it with 15, and it will check in each of these cases if it is equals to 9. If keeping 2 as the main value doesn't work, I will move on to 7, and then 7 will become I and 11 will become j, and then it will start calculating all these combinations. And similarly, if that doesn't work, then it will go to 11. So this is how the inner and outer loop will work. So let's just have a dry run. So in the first case, I is 2, that's fine. The j will be 7, we add these and we get 9. Now we have to see if this value, whether if it is equal to the target. In this case, the target is 9, the value we got is 9, so it's done, it's fine. So let's try and put it in code. So what we'll have is basically the two loops, so we can just start from there. For I in range 0 comma the length of the array or list, for j in range. Now remember, as we talked about, that it should start from the next element, so it will be I plus 1 till the end of the array, so this will remain same. Now what's the condition that we are checking? We have to check if the element at I plus the element at j, if these two add up to be 9, or in this case it's 9 but it's the target, if I plus j is equal to target, then what we return is I comma j, because this is what they say, return the two indices, so we just return I comma j. So pretty straightforward, this should work. Let's see. Oh okay, so we just have to rectify the name of the list, and as you can see, it all works fine. we have not thought about the case if in case there is no combination that works out to be the target, but as they have mentioned over here that it will have exactly one solution for sure, that's why it's fine if we don't look into it right now. But this is not the ideal approach because we are having two loops. So how about we try and tackle it using just one iteration? And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense because, for example, let's go back to the example that we had. So if we have a closer look, we'll just get rid of this. So if we have a closer look, during the first iteration, when I come to the first variable, say 2, now I know that the target is not going to change. The target is going to remain as 9. So if suppose the target is 9 and I have already got 2. So now basically what I'm looking for is 7. So I'm looking for the difference. So because I already have gotten 2, the only way this 2 works out in a combination is if it has 7, because 2 plus 7 is the only option that gives you 9. So we can probably get this done within one iteration by using a hash map, and this hash map will store the difference, or rather will work on the basis of the difference. So let's try and work it out and see how it goes. So let's get rid of this for now, and let's first define the dictionary or hash map itself. So let's call it as scene. So scene will basically store all the variables that it has already seen. Now what we'll do is we'll have the same loop which starts from the first element, goes till the last. Instead of adding it directly, what we are trying to find the difference. So the difference between the target and the number itself. So now once we find this difference, for the example that we had here, we wanted to find 7. Once we had 2, we need 7. So now what we'll do is we'll see if this difference is already in the hash map that we have created. So the hash map is scene. So if diff is in scene, we will return scene of diff, comma, scene of the I itself. We'll get into this again in detail. And if in case we were not able to find 7, so then we still need to store that, okay, we saw 2 at element 1. So what we will basically do is we'll add this 2 and we will say it to be 1. So basically what this is doing is we are adding in the hash map that we found the element 2 at position 0. This is what this does. So let's go back to the dry run. That might help with the example a bit more. So let's see what the first execution will be. The first execution will take the value to be 2. So I is 2 in this case. Now if we remember the code, what we first did was to find the difference. So the difference over here will be 9 minus 2, which is 7. Let's also keep track of the hash map that we created. Currently it is empty. So now what we are trying to see is if this 7 is present in this. Is it present right now? No, it's not. So there is no point. We move to the next one. So in the second iteration, what we have is I is going to be 7. Now the difference is 9 minus 7 is equals to 2. Also, if you remember, going back to the first iteration, sorry for that, once it sees that 7 is no longer there in the hash map, what we did was we added it to the scene. So what we did basically over here is that at the end of the first iteration, we said we updated the value of the scene dictionary, saying that element 2 or value 2 is at position 0. So now this is the updated hash map that we have. So now coming back to the second iteration that we were on. So we had 7, we subtracted it from 9, we got 2. So now again, what was the condition? The condition is to see if this 2 is present in the dictionary or the hash map. So as you can see over here in this case, 2 is present in the dictionary. So now we have found the solution. So now basically what we need is not the 2 itself, but the index at which it is present. So luckily, because it's a hash map, we have that value also. It's present at the position 0. So basically, if you go back to the return statement that we had, what we do is we return the value and we return the element itself. So this I will return 7 and this will return the position of 2 from the hash map. So if we run this, oh, okay, so it's just that the name is nums. Oh, here as well. Oh. And as you can see, it all passed. So this way we can do the same thing more efficiently. And yeah, so see you in the next one.